Did you know that Neville Goddard repeated over and over that the phrase "I am" is the name of God? And he stated this with such conviction because the one who taught him this principle was Abdullah, his master, who showed him that the "I am" is the key to understanding how consciousness shapes reality. Abdullah, a scholar of ancient scriptures and Neville's teacher, was the one who revealed to him that the "I am" is not just a spiritual phrase, but the exact point where consciousness creates. It was Abdullah who showed the young Neville that understanding the "I am" is understanding the invisible structure that allows wealth to be manifested from nothing. And get ready, because in today's video, you're going to access the very same principle Neville received from Abdullah, the principle that explains why some people manifest wealth out of nowhere while others spend their whole lives trying and failing. Here you will understand how this creative consciousness works when applied to money, why the "I am" is the key that changes your financial reality, and how you can start using it right now to generate real results. And that's why, before any technique, you need to hear exactly what Abdullah taught Neville. These are the words of Abdullah, the man who completely reshaped Neville Goddard's mind and transformed his understanding of wealth. And they can transform you too, if you're truly ready to understand. Here's what we're going to cover in this video. First, the meeting between Neville Goddard and Abdullah, who this mysterious master was, a man most people have never even heard of, yet the one truly responsible for everything Neville would later teach. Second, the deep explanation of what "I am" really means. And this is the heart of it all. Prepare yourself, because this goes beyond anything superficial you've ever heard about manifestation. We're talking about the fundamental nature of reality and your true identity. Third, how the "I am" relates to wealth through the perspective Abdullah taught, and why understanding this completely dissolves the sense of separation between you and prosperity. And lastly, a powerful "I am" exercise using artificial intelligence as a complementary tool, something Abdullah and Neville didn't have in their time, but that can profoundly accelerate your understanding. Get ready, because what comes next will completely change the way you see your relationship with wealth. Who was Abdullah? To understand the deepest teaching about the "I am," you first need to know who the man was that taught this to Neville Goddard. His name was Abdullah. Abdullah was born in North Africa, the son of Jewish parents. He was raised in an extremely strict Orthodox Jewish home, where since childhood he was immersed in sacred scriptures, the mysteries of the Torah, and the profound teachings of Kabbalah. And this, in America in the 1930s, during a period of brutal racial segregation, made his presence even striking. Because Abdullah didn't bow. He didn't shrink. He didn't accept any form of inferior treatment. He spoke Hebrew fluently, better than many rabbis who came to study with him. He knew Kabbalah with a depth that few possessed. He understood Jewish mystical texts in a way that went beyond intellect. He lived them. Abdullah gave lectures in New York, teaching about mysticism, esotericism, in understanding the deeper laws of existence. But he was extremely selective. Very few people were accepted as his true students. He had a presence that was impossible to ignore, a natural authority that made people instinctively step back. He would go to the opera and sit wherever he wanted, at a time when that simply wasn't allowed for black people. But no one questioned him. Why? Because he emanated something that transcended social rules. He knew who he was. He lived from an identity that didn't depend on external approval, social position, or skin color. He lived from the "I am." And it was this man, this profound, mysterious, unshakable master, who crossed paths with Neville Goddard in 1931. The meeting that changed everything. Neville Goddard was around 26 years old when he met Abdullah. At the time, Neville was searching. He had an interest in mysticism, esotericism, in understanding the deeper laws of existence. But he still hadn't found a teacher who could truly take him beyond the surface. until he walked into one of Abdullah's lectures in New York. And something about that man was different. It wasn't just the words he spoke, it was the presence. It was the unshakable certainty. It was the way he spoke about God, about consciousness, about identity, not as theory, but as lived experience. Neville became fascinated, and he started attending the lectures regularly. And then Abdullah accepted him as a student. For 5 full years, from 1931 to 1936, Neville studied at this man's feet every single day, discussing Kabbalah, studying Hebrew, diving into the mysteries of the scriptures, but above all, learning about the nature of consciousness and the I am. Abdullah didn't teach in a conventional way. He didn't give formulas. He didn't give step-by-step techniques. He didn't promise quick results. He taught from identity. He shattered the way Neville saw himself, reality, and especially the relationship between consciousness and manifestation. And the central teaching, the one that transformed Neville from a curious student to a profound master, was about the I am. Abdullah would say, "You don't need to become anything. You need to recognize who you already are." And when Neville finally understood this, when he truly penetrated the depth of what Abdullah was teaching, everything changed. He was never the same again. He never again felt limited. He never again chased things as if they were outside of him, because he understood something most people will never understand. And that is exactly what I'm going to explain to you now.
What the I am really means. Now pay very close attention, because what I am about to explain goes beyond manifestation. We are talking about the fundamental nature of reality. Abdullah taught Neville something that most mystics take decades to understand, something hidden in plain sight within the sacred scriptures, yet almost no one truly grasps it. And before you think I am going to give you phrases to repeat, let me make it clear, it is not about that. It is about something infinitely deeper. It is about identity. It is about recognizing who you truly are. So let me explain. I am means that you are one with divine consciousness. There is no separation between you and God. Neville tells that one day, after months of studying with Abdullah, he finally asked directly, "Ab, when you say that I am is the name of God, what do you really mean?" And Abdullah answered in a way that changed Neville forever. "Neville, where do you think God is? In heaven? In some sacred temple? Sitting on a golden throne watching humanity from afar?" Neville hesitated. "No, I don't think so." Exactly. God is not anywhere outside of you. God is in the one thing you can never lose, never forget, never stop being. The consciousness that you exist. The simple fact that you are. You can forget your name. You can forget where you are. You can forget what you do, who you know, your entire story. But there is one thing you can never, ever forget. I am. The consciousness of existing. This pure consciousness of being is not yours. You do not possess this consciousness. You are this consciousness, and this consciousness is God. Neville fell silent, absorbing it. Abdullah continued. When Moses asked, "What is your name?" God did not say, "My name is Jehovah," or "My name is El Shaddai." God said, "I am that I am." Not I was, not I will be, I am. Eternal present. The name of God is not a word, Neville. It is a state of consciousness. It is pure being. And you, the true essence of who you are, share that same identity. Your I am is God operating as you. Neville asked, "But Ab, if my I am is God, why do I feel so limited? Why do I feel lack?" And Abdullah gave an answer that explains everything. Because you add things to the I am. The I am in itself is pure. infinite, unlimited, complete. But then you say, I am poor, I am limited, I am unlucky. And when you do this, you are using the name of God, the absolute creative power, to create these limitations. The I am contains everything, all possibilities, wealth and poverty, health and illness, success and failure. Everything already exists in the infinite field of the I am. You are not creating anything new. You are simply choosing which aspect of the infinite I am you will express through your experience. Let this sink deeply. You are not separate from God. You are not trying to reach something divine that is distant. The divine is already here, in the I am, in the pure consciousness of existing that you can never lose. And everything, absolutely everything you place after the I am is an act of creation issued by the divine power that you are. Neville wrote this masterfully in his book At Your Command. Let me read to you exactly what he said. There is no real separation in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. I may conceive of myself as a rich man, a poor man, a beggar, or a thief. But the center of my being remains the same regardless of the concept I have of myself. At the center of manifestation, there is only one I am expressing itself in legions of forms or concepts of itself. Do you see the depth of this? The I am is consciousness before any definition, before you are rich or poor, before any condition. And then you add conditions. You say, I am poor, I am limited, I am hopeless. And because the I am is the absolute creative power, because I am is literally God expressing through you, those conditions become your reality. But also, here lies total freedom. You can say, I am prosperous, I am free, I am abundant, and use the same creative power to express those realities. These are not empty phrases. This is not mechanical repetition. It is recognition of what already exists in the infinite field of the I am. I am and wealth, Abdullah's perspective. So how does this relate specifically to wealth? Because Abdullah was not teaching abstract philosophy. He was teaching Neville to completely dissolve the sense of separation from prosperity. And here is what most people don't understand. Abdullah did not change Neville's perspective on wealth by teaching phrases or affirmations. He changed something much deeper, Neville's identity. Most people identify with their circumstances. They look at their bank account, their job, their current situation and say, this is who I am. I am someone who struggles financially. I am someone who never has luck with money. I am poor. But here is what Abdullah taught. You are none of those things. You are not poor. You are not rich. You are not any fixed identity, any circumstance, any condition. You are consciousness. You are the I am. And the I am, pure consciousness, is not limited. It is not defined. It is not bound to any condition. The I am is infinite. It is access to everything. It contains all possibilities simultaneously. Abdullah would tell Neville, when you identify with poverty, you are doing something impossible. You are trying to limit the unlimited. You are trying to define the undefinable. You are taking infinite consciousness, which is who you truly are, and compressing it into a single identity, poor. But you are not poor, Neville. You never were. Poverty is only a temporary experience consciousness is having. It is not who you are. You are the I am, the infinite consciousness that has unlimited access to all forms of wealth, prosperity, abundance. Wealth is not out there in the world waiting for you to work hard enough or be lucky enough. Wealth already exists in the I am. It always has, as one of the infinite possibilities of consciousness. The problem was never lack of wealth. The problem was identification with limitation.
Abdullah taught Neville, stop seeing yourself as a poor person trying to get wealth. Stop identifying with lack. Recognize, I am is greater than any circumstance. I have access to everything. And here is the key that dissolves all separation. When you stop identifying with poverty, when you recognize that you are infinite consciousness, not a limited person, wealth stops being something external that you need to chase. It becomes one of the infinite possibilities that you, as consciousness, can choose to express. It is not about getting wealth from the outside. It is about allowing the wealth that already exists in infinite consciousness to express itself through your experience. And how do you do this? Not by repeating phrases, not by pretending, but by fundamentally changing where you place your identity. You stop identifying as a poor person and begin identifying as the I am, the consciousness that contains everything, including unlimited wealth. You stop feeling like someone separate from prosperity and begin feeling like the very consciousness that is already abundant by nature. Abdullah used to say, Neville, you are trying to be rich, but you do not need to become rich. You need to recognize that the I am, which is who you truly are, already contains wealth. You are not trying to add something to yourself. You are revealing what is already here. And when Neville finally understood this, when he stopped feeling like a poor person trying to manifest wealth and began to feel like infinite consciousness simply being prosperous, everything changed. Not because he obtained something from the outside, but because he stopped identifying with limitation. Wealth is not something you have. It is something you allow when you stop identifying with what you are not. You are not your circumstances. You are not your bank account. You are not your story of lack. You are consciousness. You are the I am. And the I am already contains all the wealth you could imagine. The only question is, will you continue identifying with limitation, or will you recognize who you truly are? When you recognize this, when you truly feel it, not just understand it intellectually, the sense of separation from wealth dissolves completely. Because there is no longer a you separate from prosperity. There is only infinite consciousness, the I am, expressing abundance through your experience. Not as an affirmation, not as a technique, but as a recognition of the truth that has always been here in the infinite field of the I am. The powerful exercise with artificial intelligence. Now, everything I explained to you so far is deep, transformational, and if you truly absorbed it, something has already shifted inside you. But Abdullah and Neville lived in a different era. In their time, the technological tools we have today did not exist. They depended 100% on personal discipline, deep meditation, and constant practice to maintain this consciousness of the I am. Today, we can use artificial intelligence as a complementary tool for something very specific and powerful. And no, it is not about AI manifesting for you. It is not about asking annoying questions throughout the day. None of that. It is something much deeper and more transformational, and it is completely aligned with what Neville taught. Let me show you first what Neville said about this. In his book, Awakened Imagination, Neville wrote, "Mentally construct a drama that implies your desire is fulfilled, and make it something that involves movement of yourself. The future must become the present in the imagination of the one who wishes to create circumstances wisely and consciously. We must use imagination masterfully, not as an observer thinking of the end, but as a participant thinking from the end." Do you see the depth of this? It is not about thinking of what you want. It is about thinking from what you want as if it were already real. And Neville continues explaining something crucial.
First, you must know what you want. Then, create an image that fulfills it. Would your friends know and talk about it? Imagine that they are with you now, discussing your fulfilled desire. Create a scene in your mind and believe in its reality. That invisible state will produce the objective state you desire, for all objective reality is uniquely produced by imagination. Now connect this with what I'm going to propose. You are going to ask artificial intelligence to describe a personalized wealth scenario for you. Not a generic scenario, not something copied from someone else, but something specific based on what wealth means specifically to you. Something that fulfills exactly what Neville taught. A detailed scene with movement where you are thinking from the end, not thinking of the end. AI will create a complete, sensory, emotional description of a moment in your life where you, as the I am, are expressing total prosperity. It is not a list of affirmations to repeat mechanically. It is a complete experience, a vivid moment, with details, with emotions, with sensations. For example, you can ask, create for me a detailed scenario where I wake up on a typical day of my life, but living from the consciousness of I am prosperous. Include sensory details, emotions, interactions, movements. Make me feel as if I am already living this. An AI may generate something like this. You wake up at 8 a.m. without an alarm. Soft light enters through the window of your spacious bedroom. You stretch comfortably on that mattress you chose without looking at the price, only for the quality. You pick up your phone and see 3 bank notifications, automatic investment deposits that generated $2,200 while you slept. You smile, but it is not the smile of surprise or relief. It is that quiet smile of someone who simply knows that they are financially safe. It's natural. It's your normal state. You get up, walk to the kitchen. The floor is cool under your bare feet. You turn on the coffee machine, that Italian one you always wanted and finally bought without guilt, without fear, simply because you wanted it. While the coffee brews, you look out the window. The sun is rising. You think, 2 years ago, I woke up in panic thinking about bills. Today, I wake up thinking about possibilities. You are not euphoric. You are not shrouding for joy. You are simply at peace. That deep and solid peace of someone who recognized, I am prosperous. It is not something you are trying to become. It is something you simply are. And your phone vibrates. It's a message from your accountant. Last month's revenue, $87,000. Congratulations. You reply with a thumbs-up emoji and go back to your coffee. You feel that silent gratitude, not for luck, but for recognition. You recognized who you are, and the world had no choice but to reflect that. Do you see the brutal difference? It is not repeat 100 times, I am rich. It is a complete, rich, detailed experience that puts you in the state of consciousness of I am prosperous. Exactly as Neville taught, you are not thinking of the goal. You are thinking from the goal. You are being the person who already lives this. And here is the magic. When you read this scenario, when you truly absorb every detail, every emotion, every sensation, something inside you happens. Maybe you even get emotional. Maybe your eyes fill with tears. Maybe you feel a shiver. Why? Because something deep inside you, the I am consciousness, will recognize, yes, this already exists. This is already here. I do not need to create this. I only need to allow it to express it. This is the exercise. Abdullah did not have this tool. Neville did not have this tool. They had to create these scenarios manually with iron discipline every single day. You have a tool that can do this in seconds, personalized, adjusted, refined for your specific goal. AI creates the scenario. You absorb it deeply.
You read it every day, preferably before going to sleep, as Neville recommended. And you feel the dissolution of the separation between you and wealth. Because you are no longer out there, far away, chasing something external. You are here, in the I am, where wealth has always been. Use AI to create your specific prosperity scenario. Absorb it daily. Think from the end, not of the end. And observe what happens, not only externally, but mainly internally. Because true transformation happens first in consciousness. Only then does it manifest in physical experience. And here is something crucial you need to understand. This exercise is not a modern invention. It is not a new technique disconnected from the teachings of Abdullah and Neville. It is exactly what Neville taught for decades, only amplified by a tool he did not have at the time. Neville spent his entire life emphasizing a fundamental truth. In his book, The Power of Awareness, he wrote, "The greatest illusion of man is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness." Let that sink in. All causes, including the cause of your current financial situation, are in your state of consciousness, not in the economy, not in luck, not in external circumstances, in your state of consciousness, in your I am. And then your faith is your fortune. Neville was even more direct. I am rich, poor, healthy, sick, free, confined, were first of all impressions or conditions felt before they became visible expressions. Your world is your consciousness objectified. Waste no time trying to change the outer. Change the within or the impression, and the outer or expression will take care of itself. When the truth of this statement awakens within you, you will know that you have found the lost word or the key to every door. I am, your consciousness, is the lost magic word which made itself flesh in the likeness of that which you are conscious of being. Read this again, slowly. I am is the lost magic word that became flesh. Everything you are conscious of being, whether poverty or wealth, materializes in the physical world. Not because you are attracting from somewhere external, but because the world is literally your consciousness objectified. It is a mirror reflecting who you have assumed to be in the I am. And here is the absolute freedom that Abdullah taught and Neville lived. You can change your consciousness now. You can change who you are in the I am now. You do not need to wait for circumstances to change. You do not need to wait to deserve. You do not need to wait for permission. In Feeling is the Secret, Neville wrote, "Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. All changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. A change of feeling is a change of destiny." When you stop feeling like someone separate from wealth, when you begin to feel like the I am that already contains prosperity, your destiny changes. Not because you did something in the external, but because you changed who you are in consciousness. And the world has no choice but to reflect that change. Abdullah knew this. Neville learned this. And now you know it too. The only question is, will you apply it? Will you finally stop identifying with limitation and recognize that you are infinite consciousness, the I am, which already contains all the wealth, all the prosperity, all the abundance you could ever desire? Because this is the truth. It always was, it always will be. And no external circumstance can change that. This is not just a channel of videos about manifestation. It is a community of people who are understanding deep truths about consciousness, about identity, about the nature of reality and wealth. People who do not want superficial solutions, who do not want magical three-step formulas, who truly want to understand. So if you have come this far, you are one of these people. So do the exercise. Use artificial intelligence to create your prosperity scenario. Absorb it daily. Feel the dissolution of the separation between you and wealth. And then come back here in the comments. Share your experience. Share your insights. Mark the moment you recognized, I am prosperous, not as something future, but as present truth. Because when you share your transformation of consciousness, you inspire someone else who is doubting, questioning, wondering if this is real. You become part of this community that is raising the collective consciousness about wealth, that is proving that Abdullah was right, that Neville was right, that the I am truly is the name of God, and that this God dwells in you. Subscribe to the channel. Join us, because we are going deeper and deeper into these teachings. We are going to explore more of Abdullah, more of Neville, more deep truths about who you really are. And remember, you are not separate from wealth. You never were. Wealth already exists in the I am. You only need to recognize this and allow it to express. I am prosperous. I am abundant. I am free. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances change, now. Because I am is always present, always here, always available. Until the next video, and may you live from the I am that you truly are.